Thanks for clicking on this video, episode 24 of Beyond the Blast Doors, where we are going to talk about everything about Mark Hamill, why you should respect him no matter what he tweets or does not tweet. We're also going to be talking about Han Solo. We're going to talk about Rogue One a little bit. We're going to talk about The Last Jedi, everything and anything Star Wars, because this is a Star Wars show. David Amlotti, one of your hosts here. Joining with me are the other two hosts of this awesome show, Mr. Jesse Buck and David Gilbert. Jesse, how are you doing, sir?
Pretty good. Surviving. I survived Christmas holidays at work.
I would say that the retail life is full of scum and villainy.
More than Mos Eisley.
More than Mos Eisley. All right, well, make sure you talk up louder so the folks at home can hear you. And David, how are you feeling?
Well, Happy New Year to both of you guys.
This is our final podcast for
2017. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of fun.
Yeah, it's kind of gone by quick, right? We started this in April.
Yeah. We should do something big for 1 year.
For a 1 year? Well, we have like we have 4 months.
We'll make it.
Before that hits. Oh, I think we are. We're doing pretty well. I mean, for those of you tuning in, if you stay up to date with our show, you know that we have announced our 300 sub contest, and we've gotten about 25 entries for that so far, giving away almost $100 worth of free Star Wars merchandise. So if you have not watched that video on our YouTube channel, do that after you get done listening or watching this episode. We have the prizes right here behind Mr. David Gilbert. Okay, so the way this episode is going to work is in traditional fashion. We have a series of segments where we hit the latest and greatest news in Star Wars talk, and the first segment is Real Talk, and Mark Hamill tops our show this week because Mark Hamill has been making some waves going back to even before Christmas.
Yeah.
You might remember that a YouTube user by the name of Jar Jar Abrams posted a video that was a compilation of bites that Mark Hamill had he had made statements regarding Luke Skywalker and The Last Jedi and the film overall. And when you link all these clips together, you get the impression that Mark Hamill isn't necessarily a fan. So you fast forward a few days, Mark Hamill gets out on Twitter and says, I regret, sharing my feelings about the movie on social media. I wasn't on board originally, but, Rian Johnson's really the guy that should have done this movie, and he did a great job. And then we got a third tweet from Mark Hamill, nixing a few other theories, and we can get to that in a little bit. I don't want to.
He's really just been in the spotlight.
Yeah, he's been really busy.
Yeah.
Let's just first do this because we at this point we know that Mark Hamill has come out and said, "Listen, it's a great movie. It is what it is. I support it." And we'll post the tweets here on the screen. If you're watching on YouTube, we'll throw those up on the screen here in just a second. Just the fact that in that video that Jar Jar Abrams had uploaded, and I'm not trying to publicize his channel, but I mean he's the guy that I think everyone is kind of crediting him as the guy with the video, because it got tons of views. Just saying, it's the bite where Mark Hamill says, it's not my Luke Skywalker. When I played him, he didn't feel like, I felt like I was playing a Jake Skywalker. He also said a few other things we'll get to in a little bit, but just the fact that Mark Hamill has said, I felt like I was playing Jake Skywalker. Jesse, how do you react to that?
Well, looking at it as, this is an actor who, it's been 30 years kind of thing. He hasn't played this role in so long. It's been kind of left in the dark of what happened to Luke after Return of the Jedi. So I think, he does have the right to have his own viewpoint of what he thought or, the character would have gone. And he even, if you actually, instead of, basically what they did is that this guy took everything out of context that Mark said in the past few months and put it into this negative, viewpoint. And if you look at it in the way that Mark probably actually meant it, was, yes, this was my viewpoint on it, but it's just not where it went. That's not what, happened. And everything.
The thing about it is, yes, it's been 30-something years since Mark Hamill had donned the Jedi robes, but he was very vocal, even during the time of Return of the Jedi, about where he wanted to see Luke Skywalker go. He wanted to see Luke Skywalker go to the dark side. He wanted to see him have to get redemption himself. So he kind of got that, maybe just not the way that he envisioned it. But David, when you hear him say that he approaches as Jake Skywalker, because this is Disney's Luke Skywalker. It's not George Lucas's Luke Skywalker. It's now the Disney story. How do you react to hearing Mark Hamill, who is so invested in this character, say these things?
I get a little disappointed, honestly, because maybe I'm the odd man out, but I liked the direction that they took Luke Skywalker's character.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, if you go back to the Force Awakens, and we know that history, that he tried to restart it, that it failed, he's going to be jaded. He's going to be disgruntled. He's going to be pissed off. He's going to be upset. And what do other Jedi do when they fail at something? Well, Obi-Wan Kenobi ran away to Tatooine to live out and protect Luke, and Yoda ran away and hid in a swamp, so they're the two that kind of taught Luke what to do, so isn't it fair that Luke Skywalker, when he fails so ginormously, that he gets to run away for a little bit too?
Man, I get what you're saying. I do not think that Obi-Wan ran away, though. He was in hiding to protect Luke. I think Yoda threw himself in exile. He was a bit of a bitch and ran away. But I won't knock Obi-Wan.
Because all Yoda goes is, failed I have into X, and it's just like, why do you got to go into? I mean, yeah, maybe you got to go into hiding and whatnot, but you could have spent how many years actually trying to set up a resistance.
But I do get what you're saying is the disappointment of the hero having this outcome, and I know that you like the way the movie was handled. So like that's great. I'm taken aback personally that he felt this way, and I don't care if this is a edited video where it's excerpts from different interviews. The fact is, Mark Hamill said, "I did not feel like I was playing Luke Skywalker. I felt I was playing a Jake Skywalker."
I mean, here's the thing. No matter what Rian Johnson did, people wouldn't be happy. Whether it was Mark Hamill, whether it was Disney, whether it was the millions of fans out there, we've had 30 years to build up Luke Skywalker as a hero in our minds. We've had 30 years of novels, of expanded universe, of fan fiction, of personal daydreams to figure out where each one of us would take this character, and there's no way that somebody wasn't disappointed in what they did.
Yeah. I mean, that's the one thing I've been just seeing all over is, this was my expectation. It's just like, okay, well, you basically said it the right way. There's so many. If I directed it, the movie would have been completely different. I mean, it would have been Boba Fett in there, but no,
Of
but
course there would be.
But honestly, for me, I actually enjoyed this depiction of Luke Skywalker. I had no problem with him being. I guess in many ways, kind of like heartbroken with himself, and that position, that mental state that he was in. For me, I guess the only thing is I would like to actually maybe have seen a little bit more. Like I kind of thought the flashbacks in the movie was nice, but maybe if they would have added a little bit more in that, they kind of go, okay, he really was this badass.
We can get more into Last Jedi speculation here in a little bit, but let's stay on topic here. And then one more Mark Hamill thing I want to talk about was there was another conspiracy that Mark Hamill didn't know the outcome of The Last Jedi until he came out of the premiere.
Oh my god!
So it's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I want to read the tweet that I see here, and I want to give credit to StarWarsNewsNet.com. We always talk about how they're the best aggregator online of Star Wars content. And they've gathered several of our stories today. The story that they've got here, they're citing the Anon Journal. So I'm guessing Anon is short for anonymous. But it says, the tweet here from the Anon Journal says, shortly after informing Colin Trevorrow, director of Episode 9, about the imminent change and asking him to change his script to exclude Hamill's role, Trevorrow disagreed and was let go by Kathleen Kennedy. She then rehired J.J. Abrams to redirect Episode 9. So, the first tweet, here we go. Mark Hamill did not know Luke Skywalker's fate until he saw the premiere. Disney was angered. Okay, so basically they're saying they decided last minute to kill off Luke, and they told Trevorrow, and he says, I'm not going to do that story. Mark Hamill has come out and said that's absolutely wrong. It's funny. Every word you just said is wrong. I'll harken back to what he says in The Last Jedi. No wonder they have Anon in their title. I would want to remain anonymous if I were spewing complete bullshit, too. Disney angered. The final scene surprised me. A lot of laughter. What a load of Sith.
I have to be honest, when I read this tweet, I read the laughter in Mark Hamill's Joker voice.
Oh, yeah, totally. You have to, right? StarWarsNewsNet.com, thank you for bringing that story to us. And, yeah, I have to agree. There's no way that there's no way the cast, they had the cast screening. They had the world premiere. Mark Hamill saw the ending of that movie. I mean, that would be, talk about, if that were true, that would be quite a controversy. But there's just no way Mark Hamill doesn't see the ending of that movie, right, David?
Well, in the months leading up to the release, he talked about, because of Carrie Fisher, and everything. He's talked about how this is probably her finest work and everything. So he had this scene,
I mean,
the whole thing,
Right.
how do you direct that? Luke is not going to die, but we need you to sit on a rock and look upset and a little hurt and a little constipated. No. Luke's dying. He's fading away. They have to give him direction.
People started saying that last shot of Luke where he's on the rock kind of like sitting there, just kind of looking out with CGI, and that they added that scene in.
Oh, come
I
on.
don't think so.
Yeah. I mean,
No.
that's,
I don't think
that's,
so.
that's what people are saying on the internet.
If-
They're going that far to try and find issues with that movie.
If Disney's lobbying for a Academy Award for him, and they're not going to put in CGI emotion.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to get that.
Now, I could see them compartmentalizing that information like they did with Empire and him being Vader's son, where there's only a handful of people who actually knew that was going to happen.
Even in the movie, you're not doing this. He's not doing it. It would kill it,
Yeah.
Okay. For what I mean, it's a testament to Snoke's power on its own. But the fact is that Kylo says to Rey, "It would kill you." Well, I mean, we don't actually really know how powerful he is. Just because he's a Skywalker doesn't mean he's Anakin powerful.
I mean, how much you take into account of the Legends of Luke Skywalker novel that just recently came out? Luke Skywalker can apparently do some really large things with the Force.
So I mean, the thing is at the same time, though, I mean, just the whole events leading up to that scene of him fading away, the amount of concentration that would take for him to maintain that illusion and everything, that's a lot.
Yeah. I'm going to have you rotate that mic closer to your face, and we're going to go on to the next topic here in Real Talk. And coming in about, I'm going to say 15 minutes or so, we're going to revisit the Mark Hamill thing in Blast or Stash and have another side topic for that. John Williams is now set to write the theme for Solo, a Star Wars story. John Paul is still going to be composing that score, but we know that John Williams will be doing the theme, which I think makes sense. This is one of the three staple characters from the original trilogy. David, you hear the news that John Williams is going to make, I believe this is his 9th venture into Star Wars films. How does it make you feel?
I'm just stoked and pumped. I love everything that John Williams does, from Indiana Jones to Jurassic Park to I hate Superman, but even the Superman theme is pretty iconic.
He did Harry Potter?
So the man's 85 years old. He'll be 86 at the beginning of next year of 2018, February or so. I hope that he can really continue to pump something out phenomenal, and I have faith.
He did. I feel like there was a lot in the Last Jedi score that was reminiscent to Force Awakens. And of course, we harken back to the original trilogy themes. But Jesse, to hear him, to hear that John Williams will be involved now with a standalone movie, I think, isn't this more exciting? Because originally we were just worried that, are we going to have John Williams get to Episode 9? Now it sounds like we're going to have him doing all the episodic films. He will compose all those, and he gets to dabble with the standalones.
I'm just absolutely pumped, just in general, because, I mean, he's got an amazing career and everything, and, yeah, I mean, he's done so much music for so many iconic films. Yeah, it makes me happy, because I feel like he's not going to waste his time if he thinks it's, not worth it.
Well, and he even says in the story, Variety did a story where they make the announcement, and John Williams goes on to say, "Listen, I'm gonna do this piece, and it's not done until Ron Howard and John Powell tell me that this is what the movie needs." So he definitely seems to have some goals with this piece. He definitely seems very ambitious with this, and I would imagine there would be a nostalgic tone in there, because you had 3 movies with Han Solo. Han has had his themes before, so very interesting to see what they take and what they don't.
His music just sets the mood for a lot of things.
Because with Han Solo, he doesn't really have like his theme. Like Leia has the flutes. Luke kind of gets always associated with the Force theme. I always kind of associate Han Solo with the Imperial and da-da-da, da-da-da, like when they're in the heat of space. I don't know. That's
honestly, I always think of the cantina scene.
But I guess that's my point. Is he doesn't have like an outright theme. Like he is always associated with something different. You know what I'm saying? Like like the cantina is not his theme. The
What if it is?
the Jizz Band.
I really wish they would rename that.
No, I know, that's what they call. George
I know.
Lucas called them the Jizz Band, so that's what they are. All right, so it seems like we're all unanimous. John Williams composing that theme for the Han Solo standalone movie. Looking forward to that. And we stick with the Han Solo movie now because we now have possibly our first look at some promotional materials for Solo, a Star Wars story. I keep wanting to call them standalone stories. It would have been a better title, but that's okay. Nonetheless, a Russian website has leaked this poster. Boys, you have both had a chance to look at it. If you're watching right now, you see it on your screen. If you're listening, you can find it on our Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram pages. Be sure you follow. You're seeing our main character, Solo, there front and center, all Ehrenreich. Donald Glover as Lando. You have Chewbacca in there, and then you have the character Kira on there as well. What is our interpretation of this poster?
Well, first and foremost, I mean, if it's real, I guess Russia did something great for once.
By leaking
By
a
leaking.
Han Solo poster.
Yeah.
Not even a full one, a small one.
Yeah, a small one.
This is what you attribute to greatness?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I mean, if it's in a legit image and everything, obviously we kind of get to potentially get a feel for, just kind of how these characters look and everything.
Yeah.
My first impression, I was kind of expecting. I get that it's a young Han, he's kind of a pretty boy, but I was kind of expecting his clothes to maybe be a little bit, I don't know, grungier, maybe. Maybe it's just kind of me, But
Can Han Solo not have nice things?
No.
Can't have nice things. David, real quick, can you look up the female character on that poster and find out how you pronounce her name? I said Kira. It might be Kura. It might be Kura. I'm having a lapse in my memory here, and I didn't write it down. I failed to write it down, so I want to make sure that we have that correct. I believe it's... Well, you're going to look for that.
Kira.
Yeah, Kira. And the actress on that again is?
Let's go with Kira. I'm gonna say Kira.
Yeah, okay, cool. So, yeah, those are the four characters, and I like it. You know what I'm most impressed by? Chewbacca does not age. In fact, Chewbacca looks younger the last three movies that we've seen him in.
Well, Chewbacca's several hundred years old, isn't he?
Right, but if you look at how grungy he kind of looks like in Return of the Jedi, he looks like he has a perm in Force Awakens. And he looks even younger in The Last Jedi. And in this one, he looks the same.
Maybe he's...
Regenerating?
I don't know. I mean, he kind of, went through this phase where, he was well-groomed, then he just kind of didn't give a crap, that grungy...
I mean,
the grunge phase, and then, now he's back to, my best buddy's dead, I gotta start looking good, so...
He's got to get back out and play the market.
Yeah.
Play the market. He's got like 5 porgs to manhandle, fonder.
Possibly eat.
So if we think that this is supposed to take place where he's a slave in the Kessel Mines, he looks very pretty for a slave.
That's my whole point. Like it all looks so shiny.
I'm with you on this one.
Again, that's why is this an actual legitimate? This could be just a glorious Photoshop.
But it's Ron Howard, and we have to have faith in the Howard.
And I agree with that. And I'm looking at the photo even more. I mean, I guess it's possible that this is just a Photoshop job. Damn good one. I couldn't do that. So,
we'll
take
see.
it if you want it.
Are they still on track for May?
Yeah, they're still on May. I want to see them move to December, and I've been calling for that for the last 6 months.
They're saying the post-production is nearing completion.
So.
Oh no, I thought posted. That's wrapped. They're in post right now.
Oh.
They're doing special effects.
Would you say a trailer maybe a month or two?
That's
what I would expect.
I think you have to have a trailer by Super Bowl. You have to have a trailer by Super Bowl.
Yeah.
For a May release, you gotta drop a trailer in the next month.
And it's going to be really overwhelming, I think, for the consumer if you don't drop anything until Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So now you're talking like the second week of February, third week of February, somewhere around there. And then if you're going to do anything like you have done with like Last Jedi, for example, are you going to drop another 20 TV spots and just completely blow the consumer?
I kind of actually hope that they don't. I would be okay with one trailer for this movie because some of the negative hype that it's gotten, but at the same time, all the couple different trailers we had for Rogue One, in some ways it kind of ruined the plot.
I don't think so, because you ended up getting a different movie than what they promoted.
Well, that too, but maybe that's the other thing. Maybe they're trying to avoid.
I think they have to be far more aggressive than what you're saying with this movie, because I think the lay fan doesn't know this movie is really coming.
I think they dropped the beat by not having some sort of teaser.
Thank you.
Before
Screw that. I think
Last Jedi.
That would have, I think, kind of annoyed me. Like, that would put my head there. The movie ends. You get a nicer tribute to Carrie Fisher at the end of that movie. Instead of just, in honor of our princess, play the 3-minute tribute they got at Celebration or something. Something to really make you appreciate Carrie Fisher. It fades down, and then there's your first teaser.
They should put it at the end
After
of the credits, at the very
But
end
still,
of the credits.
Star Wars doesn't get... Yeah, Star Wars doesn't get after credit scenes,
I know,
but they could
I
get
know.
that. You know what I'm saying? They could get that, and that would have been fine. Would have been happy with that.
60 years prior.
And now you're possibly waiting another 60. About another 60 days before we could
Before we
possibly
get
see a
something.
teaser for this. I would hope we see it in January.
We got to see it quick. I mean,
It's our friends over at Star Wars Newsnet have updated their little countdown timer, so 144 days until Solo at the time of recording.
We will keep our eyes on it. I know there are also some leaks about some like Star Wars Lego sets that came out, but I'm gonna be honest with you, I haven't been interested in a Star Wars Lego set since the Rogue One wave. So we will.
Really?
Yeah, they've really let me down. I like the TIE Silencer, Kylo Ren ship. Like, that looks really sweet. The Walker really bummed me out. The mini Walker we never see in the movie. We don't see the big ape Walker, the AT-CPT, whatever they call it, M16, whatever the heck they call it. It's supposed to dwarf the AT-AT, which it does very well in the movie. The Lego set, it's the same dimensions. I mean, it's like virtually the same set.
What about the Ultimate Collector's Edition Millennium Falcon?
I would not spend $800, and I think anyone who did, more power to you. I know you're a collector, but we covered this in a previous video.
I mean, it was a cool. You have to admit, it was a cool looking set. I mean, I don't.
It's a
price
cool
point
from
is
the
different.
outside, but when you open it up, there's nothing in there. You get 2 scenes inside the thing, and they do the hallway. There's actually no hallway. It's stickers.
Okay.
It's stickers.
I would have to redo. I would end up buying extra parts to redo the inside. That's. Just...
But you've already spent $800 on the set.
I know.
I don't have the money.
If I was rich, Dave.
Oh,
if I was rich.
Well, now if money's not a factor, I'll buy 2 of them. And I'll make like the ultimate collector series,
like the
Millennium
Snoke
Falcon.
edition. Of the
Like the
Millennium
Snoke
Falcon.
edition. Like, you can fit like 5 Millennium Falcons inside this one Millennium Falcon.
That guy was compensating for something.
I want this. We can talk about this later. This is probably going to be my staying on target. But the art of The Last Jedi, the renderings, the original renderings of Snoke's capital ship, just awesome. And just like how like the destroyers are housed inside and on top of his ship, it's just like it's essentially a death shipyard. That's essentially what that ship is.
It's highly possible.
It's awesome. All right, hey, let's jump on to the next segment now because we're done with real talk. Next segment is Pages, Pixels, and Pieces. We're going to talk about some comic book stuff, and we might even get into the novel, talk about like our top, canon novel of the year, or maybe our least favorite novel of the year, favorite comic book of the year. I feel I know what David is when I pick. But first, we're going to talk about number 5, Mace Windu. Lackluster, that's how I would describe it. Lackluster because we get the battle that we anticipated getting with that droid ADW4, and I don't really see how this droid is supposed to be any kind of opponent for Mace Windu. I mean, it's Mace Windu after all. And the same things bother me. You have the battle and you end up back in the Jedi chamber. The Jedi who wanted to commit mutiny is brought forth, and Mace Windu basically says, it's our job. It's the code says that we need to bring this Jedi back to the light. I'm being very generic, and I'm hitting certain points because I don't want to spoil the whole thing. David's looking at me like he doesn't know what the hell is going on, and that's fine. You're keeping up. You're keeping up.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So.
Not that I like this run a
No,
lot, but
the thing you have Mace Windu. It's one of the fans' most favorite, beloved characters from the prequels, and really not done well. You're just pissing me off. Jesse's over here going, Mace Windu wasn't that great of a character, actually.
Yeah.
He was actually kind of a buzzkill. He was really obnoxious. So the thing I like about Mace Windu is the fact that he was that Jedi that was able to blend the light and the dark, and it was fighting style, and you get hints of that. But I didn't need, here's the Jedi Council commissioning this group of Jedi to go off and do the side mission. Side mission really doesn't have a great factor into the Jedi, it could have been like, something that David and I talk about quite a bit is, why didn't you have them maybe explore Sifo-Dyas' connection to the clones or something? Like, that is always a cop-out for early Clone Wars storytelling, because I feel at some point the Jedi Council has to be like, how the hell did this army get made and we not know? The artwork is not that great. The story is decent for what it's worth, but it is not a mini-series that jumps out to me among the more memorable ones.
Not a real page turner.
I will say,
not a real page turner.
I will
that's
say
right.
in this issue, there's a couple frames where Mace blows up a ship just with the powers of the Force, and that's kind of neat.
Well,
just
no,
the raw energy he has.
and that's nice. Like I said, there are moments that are really enjoyable, but overall, it is inconsistent, and I would say it's not. I don't have the frustrations with it that I did like Streaming Citadel, but by issues 3 and 4, I'm losing interest.
I kind of... Okay, I mean, I suppose it's plausible, but I kind of feel like... Don't go overboard with Force powers here. You know, like... That's what I kind of feel like I've been seeing a lot lately.
I think it's great to see how far can we take the Force. You know, one of my favorite things that we got with the micro series, the Clone Wars micro series, Mace Windu jumps out of his ship on the Battle of Coruscant, and he's doing like a force fall, and everything kind of goes black and white, and he's sensing everything around him, and that was something really new that we had seen with the Force. You know, think about Phantom Menace. Jedi can basically fly in the Phantom Menace. I mean, when Obi-Wan goes to make that jump up to try and get back to Qui-Gon and Maul, he's basically freaking flying to get up there. So, I mean, to me, I like the exploration of what can you do with the Force. Like, Luke blowing that hut up in Last Jedi, I thought that was great. I mean, just seeing the magnitude that this stuff can do.
I mean, you know what I'm saying though. Like, within reason, though, I don't want to see it get to a point to where it's stupid, basically. Like,
well, I mean, you're gonna have to. Okay, so be careful there, because I mean, the thing about Star Wars is that it is all fantasy, and we're seeing more and more because of the Clone Wars and because of the Rebels. It's not just this mystical force now. There's now magic in the Star Wars galaxy. That's how you have Maul back. You know.
Well, I'm just saying, like, I don't let it be turn into dropping a moon on a Wookiee kind of thing.
Oh no, that can never happen. We can never let that happen. That can never ever happen.
That's what I'm saying. Like, don't like. That would be as a fan, my caution to these writers. Keep it within reasons. Keep it to. I know it's a fantasy and everything, but keep it within the norm, some norm.
Well, and I have to think this is why they retconned a lot of that EU is because one, they want to make a new profit on the storytelling, but two, it was muddled and it was ridiculous.
I just don't want the expanded universe to get to that point. Is the best way to put it.
I think that's fair. Let's jump to Star Wars: The Storms of Crate. This is a single shot that takes place and kind of gets us ready for Empire Strikes Back. It's written by Ben Acker and Ben Blacker. Art is here by Mike Mayhew. The cover art, Marco Cicchetto. So you're seeing the cover online if you're watching right now. If you haven't seen it, you can catch it on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Just search Beyond the Blast Doors. You know, I've read it. I'm not a fan of it. I think it's cool to take these characters to Crate because, you know, obviously, okay, we're gearing up for Empire Strikes Back. Obviously, Crate is a central environment for The Last Jedi. There's a few inconsistencies, a few gripes that I have with this story. From a visual standpoint, Mayhew, like my buddy Salvador Larroca, he's not really my buddy. I just really like Larroca, his cover art. They take images of the actors and they kind of blend them into the comics to make them look very realistic. And when it's executed well, it looks great. But you can't make that detail on every panel. And when it's not there, it's really not there. And it takes me out of the story personally.
So it's noticeable?
I think it's noticeable.
Yeah, okay.
You know, you get a really sexy cover, and then your half panels, your full panels look really gorgeous. But the quality significantly drops when you're doing, you know, eight or more panels in a page. Yeah. So that's and that's not a thing that's unusual. Like your page panel is not. You can't. The page panel is obviously going to be a lot more gorgeous than some of that art on the side page where you have all these different shots, but it can be more consistent. Yeah. That said, guess what? I'm sitting here doing a show in my kitchen where he's making a lot of money doing cover art and stuff for Marvel. So take what I say with a grain of salt, but I'm not a big fan of his art. Some storytelling issues too inside the story. You know, if you've read Leia, Princess of Alderaan, the young adult novel, really great. Claudia Gray has such a great handle on the character of Leia. You know, there is knowledge in that book that Leia knows about Crate. Leia knows that her parents are helping organize the rebellion. And you flash into this comic, and it comes off like Leia has no clue what the hell Crate is. Like, Crate might as well be like a side of cheese on a plate. Like, she has no idea what Crate is. It kind of comes off that way. She doesn't really have an understanding of the planet. And so, this just kind of feels like either it wasn't executed, or there was no acknowledging the prior novel. And I have to think the story group would know. Like, they would know what just came out a couple months ago with the Princess Leia book, So that's kind of annoying to me. It should have been... Leia should have been a little bit more comfortable, a little more knowledgeable about what was going on with this.
Continuity is a really big thing. Like,
it goes back to our last point, our last topic, right? If you're going to retcon an EU, you're saying we're doing this to keep it more fluid, you can't make these kind of mistakes. There's small details. The lay fan doesn't give a damn. The lay fan just wants to know what's going on in the movies, and that's fine. These are all things that we can. We're like balls deep into the lore and the canon, so we get a bitch about this
I've
stuff.
gone
That's fine.
beyond that.
Well, I know you have. And we'll keep
Too
that.
much info for this podcast.
Oh, gosh. Jesse gets naked in his suit. Okay, cool. All right, so that's all I want to say about that, because you guys haven't read that one yet, right?
Me being naked in a suit?
No, damn it, no, the comic.
I did. I didn't like it.
You didn't like it? Okay,
No.
that's fine. Okay, so did you, anything different?
The art, to me, is just not good.
So you don't like the influence of the...
No.
Okay, so you don't... Because, it does look like Mark Hamill in there.
Right, there's some panels that just look, really realistic to the point where it pulls me away from a comic, that it looks more like a picture book.
Okay.
And then on other panels, it just looks so not... It's like they took care of certain panels, and the rest of it, they stopped caring about.
Okay.
And the ones that they took care of that seem overly hyper realistic, it's not the art I like.
Okay, I think that's fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, you know me. I'm not a big comic book reader. I mean, I read more like the novels and everything. So, I mean, comic books is kind of like a new point for me. But yeah, I have to agree. It's some of those, those panels look great, and then other ones it looks like they did it in 5 minutes and then went on to the next panel that looks great.
Yeah. Cool.
So.
All right, well, let's go on to the next topic. All right, so for the next topic, let's do kind of like a Red Robin kind of thing, where we're going to talk about the best and worst video game moment, book moment, comic moment of 2017. Okay, so you're going to give me, the first one will be video games. So I'll say the best Star Wars video game moment. And David will give his example. Jesse will give his example. I will give mine.
Does it have to be from games that were released this year?
Yeah, it's...
Or can I go back to an old game that I've been replaying?
I'll just the best. Don't we have to keep it 2017? I feel like that would be
I feel like you would have to. I mean, and honestly, there's only been one.
I mean, I can't stop you, so if you want to throw something else
I was just going to say, because for the video game, we're all going to say, well, Battlefront 2 is both our best and our worst, because was there another video game?
Yeah, the mobile games.
Those are games.
Galaxy Heroes.
Oh.
The VR.
I want to play the VR.
Guys, you're really not exciting me for this. We got to pick this up. Let's try it. We're going to try rapid fire, okay? All right, so the best and worst of 2017 Star Wars video game. The best Star Wars game for 2017, for me, in my humble opinion, is the Star Wars Battlefront 2 campaign. That is my best moment. The original campaign, because the worst part of 2017 Star Wars video games is the Resurrection DLC. I think it was a crappy extra 45 minutes of gameplay.
You and I are going to have such a great conversation on this.
Well, okay, that's fine. You know what, Jesse? You open your mouth. What is your best and worst 2017 Star Wars video game moment?
Best moment is Battlefront 2 related, and it's when they revealed, Clone Wars era stuff. Like, actually getting to see it, getting to actually play it, and everything. It feels good. Honestly, that's what all Battlefront 2 should have been, was just Clone Wars era. And, that's just me. Just me. Worst moment, I'm going to have to go with you on this. And this is not a knot, because, I feel like the story was there, but the Resurrection DLC was a letdown. Too damn short. I did it in 15 minutes.
Yep.
On the hardest difficulty in the game. Okay, but maybe a little bit longer than that. I'm probably exaggerating the time frame, but it was short. Okay.
It's only 15 minutes. That's pretty impressive.
It really does piss me off, because we know that EA had they had this whole thing about nobody wants a single-player game. Okay, you don't half-ass a Star Wars story like that. You actually put the money into it. Okay, Janina Galvankar, I love her character in this story, and I feel like this was a slap in the face, on how short this was.
Yeah.
Like,
Versio really was just this old hag in the movie, like in this DLC. We basically go back to the same map that we've already seen. There wasn't really anything new.
They passed the torch to her daughter, which you barely get to know anything about her.
Now you know how I feel about Luke handing it over to Rey in Episode 8. All right, so we bitched enough about that, David. What's your best and worst of 2017 video games?
So I really liked in Battlefront 2 the 2-player co-op challenges. I had a lot of fun playing those on both the light side and the dark side. My worst moments in that game were playing the online multiplayer because I suck and they don't. So I didn't do too well.
Good.
I'm sorry if I've killed either one of you.
People are really good.
I would have deserved it though. Is the thing. I'm that bad at online play.
I kind of want to say my least favorite map on that game is Crate. God, it sucks. It's so hard. Crate is just a bitch.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've done the best video games. What was the other video game moment that you wanted to share?
Well, so I've been replaying Star Wars Galactic Battlegrounds.
Of course you are.
From like 2005.
Yeah.
Did you ever play that one?
So good.
I loved it. So I went back through and I found like an old piece of paper that I'd made at some point with all the cheat codes on it. So I just made a shit ton of Sith Masters and just wrecked everybody in an 8-person game. Cheating, of course, but it was so much fun.
Wait, you did this online?
No, it's on Steam for like $4.
No, but I'm saying like you were playing online.
Oh, with other people? No, they don't let you cheat that way.
Oh, I was gonna say if you could.
Well, I mean, you could.
Well,
I did. I just played against computers.
Well, I'm glad you had that moment. Great game.
But seeing 180 Sith Masters just going like, is just really cool.
I bet you had a lot of lag. A lot of lag.
Yep.
All right,
Worth
so best video game moments. Now let's do best canon novel moments. Jesse, do you want to go first? You want me to go first?
I'm just trying to think.
You need
of
to think.
what.
All right, I'll go
Can
first.
you give me a list of?
Oh my
books came
gosh.
out? 'Cause, man,
From a certain point of view,
oh,
didn't
yeah.
we get a couple
You
Aftermath?
got Thrawn.
Aftermath was.
Can't forget
some of
Canto
them.
Bite.
Blood. No. Gosh, why? I didn't expect for me to give you a list. You have the Inferno Squad, the Battlefront 2 book. You have Leia. You have Phasma.
Gosh, there's a lot of great ones.
Chewie and the Porgs. Can't forget that one.
Yeah. For me,
Favorite moment that you read. That's all I'm asking you for. Is the favorite moment that you read?
Can I give you two?
Well, it was so hard for you to come up with one just now. I can't imagine how you have two now. But all right, go ahead.
Boba Fett's chapter, and from a certain point of view,
Okay.
I thought that was cool. Favorite book moment though was actually Iden Versio surviving the first Death Star battle.
Okay. Yeah.
I thought that was a really well written scene in that book and everything, and I really enjoyed that. So.
Okay, and then your least favorite.
Least favorite moment. Oh, geez. I don't really think I have one. I mean, just being honest, for the most part, everything that I've read this year has actually been, novel-wise, has actually been pretty decent.
All right, cool.
From a certain point of view, has a really shitty story in there about a Jawa that I hate.
I love that Jawa.
Oh my god, that was terrible.
I love that because
Oh my god, just complete rubbish and trash. But then in the same book, one of my favorite stories that they have is the one with Captain Antilles on the
Tana 4.
Yeah, Tana 4.
First chapter.
He goes, but it's a great story. And he goes up and he starts talking about in his diary, like writing a family, and then he dies at Darth Vader's hand. I just thought that was really, really touching.
I can roll with that.
I mean, it gives human emotion to those characters that we just see as expendable.
Okay, so I got have a lot of happy moments, and I got a lot of negative moments.
I can feel the negativity coming out of you.
Positive, I think because you guys have mentioned it. I mean, clearly, the From a Certain Point of View novel was a really tremendous book.
Yeah,
I think
more.
Overall, I think it's a great book. I didn't like the Jawas, but
I am the odd man out on this.
But
man.
You know, the thing I didn't like about the book in some ways, Han shot first. right? Like Han shot first, right?
Yep.
Yeah, 100%.
Yep.
So
Without a doubt.
and that's something that, fans for years argued, and then George Lucas is like, no, he didn't shoot first. Yeah. He shot first, okay? But those are the things that I like, elements of the movie that you can go and debate for years and years with your buddies, and like if you haven't seen someone for a long time, well, you can bring up this element of Star Wars and you can discuss it. There's a scene in A New Hope when the escape pod gets jettisoned, and the guy's like, hold your fire. Well, why didn't they just blow that damn thing up? Why? Because the movie would have ended right there, right? So in the short story, and from a certain point of view...
The bureaucracy, the paperwork, fill out this form and that form, and then it shifts all the blame. That was a great one.
But I hate it because...
Really?
I hate it because it's like... You're literally trying to give backstory to every little nook and cranny of the Star Wars story. And to me, that seems a little excessive. The one line, though, I did like from it where he's like, what are we, low on laser blasts now or something? Which is, I'm pretty sure the joke that they made on the Family Guy parody episode was, like, the same thing. So, like, I like it, but I dislike it. Another positive, I mentioned before, Claudia Gray's Leia novel. Tremendous. I don't have it on the shelf yet. I have it over there on my table. I just finished it. But, again, Claudia Gray, as she does with Bloodlines, does a really great job of giving you that Leia character, and instead of giving you, in Bloodlines, she gives you a Leia in this Last Jedi Force Awakens, well, just before the Last Jedi. Here you're getting, a younger Leia. I mean, she was already pretty young in A New Hope, but, you're getting her in her early teen years, her formative years, really. And it's just really nice. Some great nods to the Clone Wars, some great teases ahead, a really enjoyable read. I have not finished Phasma, and it's kind of a bummer for me just because I've heard good things about it. But I've heard that by reading the Phasma book, you will only be more frustrated with the utilization of the character in the movies. So I'm not sure if I will read that book after all. I have it. I just don't know if I'm going to actually...
I'm actually kind of disgruntled concerning the Phasma book because it actually got spoiled for me. It really did get ruined. I ended up looking into it. I actually don't like the background that they gave the character. And even more so, the comparison that people have been making between Phasma and Boba Fett being the same. No. When I hear those theories now, or those, it's like, no, they are definitely not the same individuals.
No.
In terms of a character story and everything, they are not the same.
Absolutely. I mean, if you're just going from little screen time and how they should have been used more, they're pretty similar in those regards.
In those regards, yes, but in terms of actually trying to character comparison.
But here's the thing: if I'm the common fan, okay, nothing I've seen in the movies makes me want to explore that character any further.
No.
You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I got the book for a gift. I really appreciate the gift. I flipped through the first chapter. Haven't gotten any further than that. I'm just going to be honest with you. So we've done video games, books, comics. Best and worst moment of Star Wars comics in 2017. David, I have a feeling I know yours.
So my best is going to be everything in the Darth Vader line. And that shouldn't be a surprise to anybody. My worst, though, is going to be the Star Wars annual that we got back in September, which is just hot garbage. The plot was about Han and Leia trying to find a new rebel base, and the art is crap, the story's crap. It's crap. It's terrible. It's rubbish. I expected more out of an annual. I was let down.
Okay. Yeah, that was really good. That was very concise. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Jesse, how about you?
For me, it's going to be within the Darth Vader comics because that's basically the main comic line that I've been reading.
Because it's so good.
It really is so good. Favorite moment though is the scenes where basically there's a public gathering of the destroying of the lightsabers and everything. To me, it's kind of nice because it goes hand in hand with a scene in Battlefront 2 where Luke says to Del, what you grew up hearing about on Coruscant, it's like a false history kind of thing. So it just kind of plays hand in hand with that, and I really enjoyed that. Even more so, after I, experienced that in the game. Mm-hmm. Worst moment for me would be when Vader finds the clones goofing around with the random lightsaber.
That's issue 3, 2,
2.
And the reason for that is because I don't feel like it's an accurate portrayal of the clones. You know, from what we've seen in the Clone War, like in the movies and in the Clone Wars cartoon. I just don't feel like that was. It felt off.
I can go with that.
Lately, my favorite moment in that Darth Vader series is when he's fighting, or I guess training with the Inquisitors, and he cuts off one of the Inquisitors' legs, and the Grand Master questions him, like, was that necessary? And Vader says, well, I was teaching him a lesson, and the Inquisitor says, well, did you really need to cut off his leg to teach him the lesson? And Vader says, well, he'll never forget it. I just like that snarkiness and that ruthlessness.
Yeah, I think that's where, you know, we've talked about it before on the show, too, is Vader's humor. He's not really a comedian, haha. He's just so dry and so evil, where it's like, it's funny because it makes you uncomfortable. My best and worst. I think it's a recent. There's a lot of frames, and we're all big fans of the Darth Vader run, so I mean, it's really no surprise that that's where we're all going for our positives. That frame in episode 9, or in the issue 9, where it's Vader just standing in that cockpit, it's like the very first panel. And he's flying across the Coruscant skyline, and you see the theater in the background where he first learned about Darth Plagueis the Wise, and now it's Vader cruising the skyline in full black helmet robe. It was just menacing, and it was just kind of cool. I don't know. I thought it was a really nice, setting the tone panel. I thought that was really nice. I've also enjoyed that moment where Vader blocks the Inquisitor from killing Jocasta Nu. That was pretty rich. I don't know. We've had some good ones. I mean, even when he's battling Master Infala and he pulls the whole dam down.
Yep.
I mean,
destroys everybody. There's
just really good moments, and I really think Giuseppe does a really nice job with the covers too. I talk about the shadow play a lot,
and that's what in comparison, that feels like Vader.
Yeah.
Okay, like
his
those force powers. It feels like something Vader would do.
I get what you're saying about the clones. But my worst, and I'll bitch about this run pretty much any chance I get to, because I just really didn't enjoy it.
Bet she'll say Screaming Citadel.
Screaming Citadel! It's just a pile of hot garbage. Because here's my thing. I appreciate when we take risks with canon, and we kind of talked about this earlier too, is like, don't make it stupid. This kind of made it feel stupid. I like the idea of taking Star Wars and putting a horror genre spin on it.
Yeah. There's a lot of scary things in the universe.
You had me up until like the zombie, Gungan, and Ithorian. Like, up until that point, you had me. But then I was like, this is taking a turn where I don't like it. And it just really became, I don't know if fantical is the right word. It was over the top and force-sucking vampirus, and I thought it was garbage. I thought, like, the relationship between, like, Luke gets paralyzed, and he takes forever to recover from the spell, but then, like, Han snaps out of it really quick. And it all is just... And then Dr. Aphra's involved. And if you like Aphra, that's great. I'm not a fan of that character.
Was that its own run, or was that part of the main Star Wars line?
It was a 5-issue crossover series.
Okay.
So they've been branding it as a mini-series, but it was a crossover, much like the Vader Down series that we got about a year and a half ago.
Okay.
Oh, gosh. That had to be even longer. That was kind of towards the beginning of that 2015 run. Okay, so the last thing for Pages, Pixels, and Pieces that I just want to mention is next week, or this week coming out in comic books is Star Wars 41. Again, Killen Gillen on this with Salvador LaRocca, the duo that brought us that great 2015 Star Wars Darth Vader run. They are continuing on this Star Wars series, and they're doing a tremendous job. They're back on Jedha. They're still on Jedha. They're doing that arc right now, and it's been a really very clear divide. You can really tell where where Killian has gotten on with this run, and going back to Jedha and exploring the lore and seeing how that connects back to Rogue One, but also how that is going to propel the story forward. Really satisfying. So I'm going to encourage you, if you're not on the series right now, I'm going to encourage you to go ahead and follow that. Let's jump into Stash or Blast It. Having a really good time. Last episode of 2017 here for Beyond the Blast Doors. No, we're going a little bit longer, but hey, we're having fun. Stash or Blast It, we're going to kind of go back to Mark Hamill real quick. And just the sense, I want to go back to that tweet where Mark Hamill says that he regrets sharing his feelings on social media about the movie. That is not... He did not want to add to the divide. And we'll throw the tweet up there on the screen right now in case you don't know what we're talking about. But, he regrets what he said, and he says that, I wasn't on board, but Rian Johnson is the man to bring us this film. It's a masterpiece, X, Y, and Z. It's not the verbatim, but that's essentially what he's saying. do we really think that Mark Hamill likes this movie and likes where they've taken... Well, it's two different questions. First question is, do you really think that Mark Hamill likes how Luke Skywalker's journey ended in The Last Jedi? That's the first question. I am going to say no. He can give me all the tweets that he wants. But I think what's so interesting about the Jar Jar Abrams video getting circulated is Mark Hamill has said he didn't like it. This is Jake Skywalker. This is not George Lucas's Star Wars. I have to understand this is Disney Star Wars. You know, in Star Wars, in Disney Star Wars, this is Luke Skywalker. You know, he said those things. Now, does he later go on and say, but you know, Rian Johnson did a great job with the movie, and I like it, and he's right, and I have to come around to it. He did say those things, but there is definitely disappointment in how much emphasis he's put on the fundamental divide that he's had with Rian Johnson from day one about Luke Skywalker and just how he handled the saber. So to me, and I'm not trying to influence anyone else, and I'm if Mark Hamill were to ever see this, it's like I could be wrong, and that's fine. I just think that deep down, like I really think that he wanted the George Lucas 7, 8, 9 that he signed on for, and I feel like he feels like he and maybe his character, more importantly, got betrayed a bit in this Disney era Star Wars telling. That's just me. David, what do you think?
I think it was a very fitting end to Luke, but listening to, and I can't pinpoint one tweet or conversation, I think that Mark wanted what a lot of us wanted, which was a backflipping, jumping on the walls, lightsaber wielding, knock him dead Luke Skywalker sometime in the storyline, and we didn't get that.
Right.
So I think that he's probably okay with the ending, but I mean, I'm putting words in his mouth here.
Right, and I don't want to do that. I mean, like, I made my point. I am so thankful that Mark Hamill is on social media, and that I can tweet at him. He has responded to me. He has liked me, and for like 3 seconds, my childhood hero has had to try and attempt to say Amelati. That is a hell of a last name to try and say, and he subconsciously had to try it. So I think that's the coolest thing. And he answers you, and he jokes with you, and he does it all for the fans. I mean, it's great. So, I'm not knocking him posting anything on social media. If he doesn't like something, I want him to say he doesn't like it, and if he does like it, I want him to praise the shit out of it. But for this scene, I mean, for this movie, for Luke Skywalker, I think deep down, no matter what he says, I mean, even though he's come out and said, listen, Disney didn't tell me to apologize, and Disney doesn't tell me what to say, and I knew about the ending of the movie, and even if he says, I still think there is a bit of him that goes, I wonder what George would have done. Mm-hmm. And I think he might have liked that telling a little bit better. Luke's still going to die, but I think we get what we wanted.
And I can be on board with that sentiment.
Jesse?
I'll stash it.
I think part of the hype train right now is to bash this movie as a whole, so I think that's where a lot of his comments have been taken out of context. Now, the fact that, yes, he did say, these things, but I don't fault him for it, though. He's had a lot of time to himself to think about where he wanted the character to go, and, obviously that differed from what Ryan had envisioned. But to come back and say, yes, I had something, different in mind, but this was still good in its own ways, too. For one, that's a very adult thing to do. That's a very professional thing to do. I think his end is very fitting. For me, it was one of the most emotional points of that entire film.
Mm-hmm.
I am with everybody else. We get that where he's basically giving Kylo Ren the feeling that he has. He's fighting his old master, but we actually don't see him get into. It would have been nice to actually maybe, they did a lot of flashback scenes. Would have been cool maybe to actually see, some flashbacks or something of some kind. Just like at least give us a little something, and at least let Mark have that a little bit. So.
In this movie, it is about not just coming of age, but it is also about getting older as well. Yeah. Let's go then to the second part of this is, do you think Mark Hamill, and let's keep this really quick, do you think Mark Hamill liked this movie overall?
Overall, yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, cool. So we're gonna stash everything?
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. So, Mark, no matter what, we still love you. But I still think you wanted to see what George did. I still think you do. I know I do. Okay, cool. So then the last here for Stash or Blaster real quick, we just have new details about Galaxy's Edge. That's the Star Wars theme park that is set to come out in 2019. No, 2018, right? For
19.
It is 19 for California and Florida.
I better start packing my bags then.
Well, I heard you were going to move there.
Yeah, I got this great idea for refreshment dispensers.
They so is it the jetpack?
No, I was gonna say walrus boobs, but
If you want to, you would totally suck a teat off one of those things. You sick.
I got you off guard on that one.
Okay, so I'm blushing now because I'm just imagining him sucking on a breast. So Anaheim and Orlando will feature 2 new rides, 2 restaurants, and a variety of shops and atmospheric elements. This is information from the Orlando Weekly, and we're going to have one area where it's going to be split into 2 sides, one controlled by the First Order troops and the other by the Resistance. And the 2 sides will be separated by a merchant's alley, which will house most of the merchandise locations in the land. So there's a ride codenamed Alcatraz. That's interesting. What I think is kind of cool is there's a ride, Disney putting nearly $500 million, or roughly the same price as Pirates of the Caribbean ride at Shanghai Disney. They're saying this Alcatraz ride is going to be it's just one of the most expensive rides ever. I like the aesthetics, though. There's going to be 150 animatronics, nearly life-size AT-ATs. That is really exciting to me. They're also talking about how there will be a 100-foot wide Millennium Falcon in the park. 6 guests can get into the cockpit and enjoy a simulator there, which I think is really cool. And then there will be pre-shows, multiple pre-shows similar to Gringotts at Universal Studios Florida, for folks to enjoy as well. So, Stashed or Blasted, the way we're seeing the park kind of come to life here, seeing it develop, do we stash what we're hearing, or do we blast it?
We stash it, but I'm seeing something very interesting on this map here. There's an area called Battle Escape Attraction, and it's right next to the restrooms.
It's convenient. Hope you don't vom.
No, I'm actually excited. I went to Disney, as a kid, years and years ago. Right, the Animal Kingdom was just opening up, so that was kind of cool to see animals and whatnot. But for me, being a Star Wars, nerd, obviously most of Disney didn't really appeal to me. And now that it seems like they have so much, the Harry Potter and this now and everything. I definitely would put it on my bucket list.
I want to see what the AT-AT looks like, because I remember the one that was at MGM.
They had one at Universal Studios too.
And it wasn't that big.
It really wasn't.
Like, it was the size of what I would think an AT-ST is. So if it's going to be nearly life size, oh boy, there's no way they could build one that's actually that size.
We should go. We should go together. That'd be fun.
I want to go to the Florida one, Orlando.
Yeah.
All right.
We'll figure it out.
Oh, we'll make it a date. That's going to do it for Stash. Well, wait, David, did you stash or blast that?
Stash it.
You stash it? What's your favorite part?
The restroom kind of looks fun. No, I'm teasing.
Jesus Christ.
What about those refreshment stands?
I'm looking forward to the shops and the aesthetic that they do there.
Yeah, I want to live in the world.
I like a good gift shop.
I would really love if they would let me, if I let me make.
I want like a Harry Potter world type of thing. Like, I really want to feel immersed.
I just want to walk around in my armor.
I want to stay in the hotel.
I don't think they would let me do it, but
the Star Wars themed hotel will be phenomenal.
That'll be cool. That'll be cool. Okay, so that's going to do it for Stash or Blast It. What a great segment that was. Good time. Good conversation. Such healthy conversation.
It's my favorite part, honestly. The Fan Comlink and Stash or Blast are probably my favorite parts to do.
Well, and I don't want to bum you out, but everyone's having a busy holiday season, so we don't have the Fan Comlink to tap this week, but hopefully we can tap that next year. I'm really excited for 2018. Folks, we are going live a lot more, and I'm really excited because we finally have the equipment to do it, and I think that's going to make the Fan Comlink that much more fun, because we'll have the chat. So as you watch along and you can be asking questions, we can address it right there. I think that's going to make it a lot more fun. So let's just go ahead and see what's on our targeting system. Staying on target, it's the last segment of the show, and do you guys want me to go first? You guys
go.
You know what I mean? Okay, so for staying on target, there are so many things that we can choose. I'm curious to see what happens with the box office with The Last Jedi. Right now, Forbes is still saying it's projected to hit about $1.6 billion, which is an astronomical amount of money. Give you some reference, more than $2 billion worldwide for The Force Awakens.
I'll take $1 million of that if they don't mind.
Right. I mean, it's pennies to them, right? Kind of baffled that people think that this is not meeting expectations. Because this is what I have to say. If you don't think that this movie is making the amount of money that it should, what on God's green earth do you expect this movie to do? The Force Awakens makes over $2 billion because we didn't think we were going to have another Star Wars movie. George Lucas hadn't come out and said that he was planning a 7, 8, and 9 at the time. He said that there was 9 stories. Mm-hmm. We got 4, 5, and 6, and then he put the rest on the shelf, and he went back into 1, 2, and 3. Well, I'm not going to do 7, 8, 9. Well, we now know that he got the original 3 back together to do that trilogy before the Disney purchase. The hype train was real with The Force Awakens. You can't recreate that for The Last Jedi. We know The Last Jedi is coming.
With that teaser, Chewie, we're home. Mm-hmm. I mean, that was a shut up, take my money moment.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And so that's my thing, is I don't think that... I don't see where it falls short of expectations. And I will say this. We're approaching the 3rd weekend that it's in theaters. And it's going to cross $1 billion this weekend without a doubt. Yeah. It only needs, I think, $100 million.
It's the holiday week, and we've got a lot. So many people are on vacation time. Kids are out of school. I know, like my brother, for example. He's had a lot of he works on an assembly line. They're down for the week, so it's kind of like he's got time to actually go.
Yeah, so I'm excited to see where this happens. I've seen it 4 times. David's seen it 5 times. Jesse, how many times have you seen it now?
Legit twice.
Illegit?
I don't know why you're giving me that smile. I feel kind of dirty, and I don't want you to say what you did out loud. Okay. Real quick, though, just because we had this, and I'm taking this from StarWarsNewsNet.com. They had an article about this same topic. They were just talking about how all 3 movies have about the same amount of competition at the theater. Because, so, for example, all right, Force Awakens, Daddy's Home, and Joy... were there. They collectively made around $60 million. I mean, that opening weekend, it was $149 million what Force Awakens pulled in. Rogue One made 64 holiday numbers. Sing and Passengers were the 2 movies there. They collectively did about $50 million. So
wait, what did Jedi do opening weekend?
So this is weekend gross. This is, I gave you the second weekend. The first weekend for Force Awakens... Wait. I don't have that. Damn it.
I want to say that it probably exceeded Force Awakens.
Well, Last Jedi. So what I'm looking at, the holiday numbers that I have here, the Last Jedi made $68 million. Because remember, it dropped 68.9%, right? So I'm looking. The numbers I've given you are the second week numbers. Mm-hmm. Okay. You look at this. So Star Wars has Jumanji and Pitch Perfect 3 that they went up against. I would say The Last Jedi went up against 2 tougher movies than the 2 movies before.
David's got it here in front of us.
The Last Jedi's opening weekend was 220.
Right.
And Force Awakens was 247.
Right, and I'm giving you the second weekend gross. Mm-hmm. So right, Force Awakens in the second weekend made $149 million.
Okay.
That's according to this graph here. And so Rogue One made $64 million in its second week, in its weekend gross, according to this chart. And Star Wars The Last Jedi made $68 million, which was a 68.9% drop from its opening weekend. Mm-hmm. The movie had to make, I think, $90 million not to drop below 60%. Okay, it's tough to do. So, I mean, the reason why I'm bringing out these numbers is the fact that I think The Last Jedi still made a buttload of money, had the toughest movies to go against. I don't remember Daddy's Home. I don't remember Joy being that great. And here, I mean, it only made $17 million back in 2015. So, okay, it doesn't look like the population liked it either. Sing was a popular kids movie, and Passengers had some hype around it, but I never went and saw it. But I know Jumanji is getting a really good reaction from movie-going audiences, and Pitch Perfect 3 has a very loyal fan base. So, however loyal you think $19.9 million is. So I just thought those were interesting numbers, and I want to bring those up. Jesse, what do you have your targeting system on, my friend?
Obviously I've got, in general, props and everything.
Give me one thing that you're really enthusiastic about. Give me some passion.
That's...
What's got you hard for Star Wars right now?
Well, I just unlocked Commander Luke Skywalker on Galaxy of Heroes. So
Nice.
That's a really tough one to get. He's really powerful, overpowered, but I'm really thrilled to have him. So there's that.
Good job. That was good.
And maybe a longer DLC for Battlefront 2
That
story.
That just won't happen. Are we supposed to get more DLC?
Yeah.
More story?
We're supposed to get more, but if you're only going to give me...
I just feel like they skip, like... Why did they skip so much? Like, they literally skipped 30 years on you. More than that, right?
I'd say, if anything, the biggest thing I'm looking forward to, and we're going to start seeing it hit probably the news and everything, is the next half of the final season of Star Wars Rebels.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the best thing. And just seeing how they wrap this up, because there's rumors that it will end with the Battle of Scarif. That would be really cool. I'm fascinated. Someone's dying. Someone's dying and someone's going into exile. We'll find out who it is. David, what is your sting on target?
I got Legos of Krennic Shuttle, and I'm ecstatic.
Yeah, and I still have to get a Lego set to build with you.
Right.
Because like I have one here, but it's not of like ample size, you know.
I may or may not have a certain one coming.
Wait, what Lego set did you get?
I'm not going to say.
No, you have to say.
I can't.
What did you get?
You should know.
Slave 1?
You got the Slave One?
I did.
Oh, right!
Nailed it.
I'm so happy for you.
So I feel like
Can we have a Lego Star Wars build day?
We should have a Lego.
we should have a Lego Star Wars build day, and we should live stream it.
I'm fine with that.
I'm okay with that.
I'm okay with that. See, David gets self-conscious about the live thing because you can't make mistakes. And as someone who works in television and makes a lot of mistakes regularly on live TV, you get over it. You get
We're
over
just
it.
building Legos.
I'm now ready for Legos, so when are we getting a Lego?
We can Lego. What are you guys doing on Monday?
I'm working Monday. I don't have it yet. You gotta keep this.
He's got to get it, and you have to get yours.
Oh,
I just want my mic.
Okay. All right. Well then, Well, we'll figure that out.
We'll figure
that out when we're not doing the episode.
I'll bring the hot cocoa.
Oh, I'm sure you will.
Can we watch Rebels to get me caught up?
We're probably gonna do that tonight, buddy.
Okay.
We're gonna get you caught up because season 4 comes out in about a month. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That's it. Episode 24
In the books.
in the books. That feels pretty good.
Goodbye, 2017.
Oh my gosh, yeah, it was very thankful that we were able to get this podcast finally started. Bumping into you at a Hobby Lobby, and then knowing you since I was like 12, it all kind of came together.
One could say that the Force works in mysterious ways.
Oh, that's you could say that. You could. I wasn't going to, but you did. But no, seriously, we've been doing this since April, and it's been a lot of fun, and still having our 300 sub contest giveaway. So we're giving away about $90 worth of stuff. You're getting the Shattered Empire comic series run, some cool variants there. You're getting 4 pop figures. You're getting absolutely free shipping. Just go to our YouTube channel. There's 3 simple things you have to do to enter, and then we'll send you the free stuff if we pick you. It's as simple as that. You have till January 14th. I think what we're going to do, I'm probably going to do a comic book live stream here either today or tomorrow. But I'm just going to go through my short box and just all my favorite grabs of the last year. Do something like that. But I think, if there's anything to look forward to in 2018, it's we're going live and we're going to be able to do it where we're going to have the same production value that you've kind of been accustomed to, which is really exciting.
It's a work in progress, but we'll get it there.
Yeah, we're doing well. We're doing well.
Yeah.
To our 300 subscribers and everybody who tunes in every week, thank you so much for making 2017 so special, so memorable. And the next time we'll see you will be 2018.